We on the block, in the drop, with a 40 and the shorty and the Glock, looking for good. We in the hood, like shh. It's understood. They call me King Kane, not being the same, but a little Mary Jane I might maintain. Smoke on blue, purple haze, higher than Empire State. I hate the when them passing me by. I like to pass it and fly, make music and ride. You can call me Little X, or Kane if you prefer. Your girl said I was the best, but you gotta ask her. Super soaker on the chest, blowing super duper sets, tripping like a super trooper, quick to shoot ya. Oh yes, freaky like that Kama Sutra. Enemy Kama con tu ruga, sweeter than azúcar, running from the fucking hoorah. On the block, in the trap, with a 40 and a shorty and a Glock, looking for good. We in the hood, like shh. It's understood.
I'm on the block up in the drop and keep some rocks and got a Glock or two. Got partners with some choppers who just watch it come and rock. Might make a knot up off some rocks. I hit the block and buy a spot or two. Knock the top up off your pops and down I wash them like a mop. Get out of line, I shoot. Bang, bang. Them bullets banging from the rooter to the tooth. I turn 'em up. You don't believe me? Ask Fresher Uncle Stu. Go ask my folks. A one-on-one up in the paint. I do, yeah. Yeah, I do. I'm at the spot with Lil Smith and Lil Wesley. Gotta keep them with me, cause them haters love to test me. Squeezing different shots, cause they don't like to see my chest breathe. Protection may survive. I came with my vest, see, I am not resting. No, full-time hustler. Okay, 24/7. I'm supplying all the customers. What you need? Right there on the block, right there in front of the cops. Yeah, and I would never run. My work is in the pot. Yeah, but you know where my block's at. We with our Glock straps, can't hang with no lames because we kick it with hot cats. So where your little spots at, and where your little drops at, smashing clothes, stacking dough. On my block, that we got that.
We on the block, in the drop. It's understood. Verse 3 is for the haters.
Yo, I'm not gonna put y'all through a third verse. But that track, if y'all do want to hear that third verse, is called On the Block, and it's on my SoundCloud at the moment. That song actually played on 97.9 The Beat like one time. That's a story for another time. Today I would like to talk about my middle school memories and a little bit of trauma. Not that I like to dwell on trauma, and I don't want this podcast to be entirely. I just want to get all that shit out the way first, and then I'll be able to be creative and come up with other ideas and other shit to talk about. It is kind of a therapy for me, and maybe hopefully, you know, it'll help somebody out. And if not, well, it helps me. I'm addicted to caffeine. Right now, my drink of choice is this yerba mate clean from Austin, Texas. 50% of the profits support addiction recovery. You know what I'm saying? And it's organic, 160 milligrams of organic caffeine. Man, I be buying these by the case. They got other flavors too, but that's my favorite. That's the lemon lime or something? Yeah. So the indicas bring me back down, you know what I'm saying? So I just get like a, regular. Middle school. A little quick prelude to middle school. I was an early bloomer, I guess you could say. I don't know if people say that about boys, but I was into girls pretty early. And I wanted to clear up something. When I mentioned like my father, my grandfather having an influence on me, I don't put any blame on them in the fact that I was a wannabe player for so many years. You know what I'm saying? At one point in my dad's life, he was a player. And, maybe, but in the end, I always knew the consequences, you know what I'm saying? And I'm my own individual, and I knew what I was doing. So I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just spitting the facts, it's interesting. Sometimes things like memories and personality traits, they say, I don't know if this is fact, and even trauma, can transfer through DNA. So if you have a child, and it's almost like they automatically get a little piece of you, for the better or for the worse. Whether this is fact, I don't know. But I don't blame anybody but myself for the mistakes and the actions that I made. Even if I mention somebody else in the story, like one of my parents or somebody that I use as an excuse, you could say. So the first time I kissed a girl was in elementary school. And I found out she liked me. This was like in 3rd grade, right? A lot of stuff happened in 3rd grade for some reason. I guess my dad was kind of out the house, not blaming him. But it was just me, my mom, my sister the majority of the time. So my mom was having difficulty with me because of me being a little asshole. But like one time she was trying to help me with my homework. And this will relate to parents now because of new math, the way they change shit up for some reason. And she was teaching me. I was getting help with my homework, and my mom was showing me the way that she did it, right? And I was like, nah, that's not the way my teacher does it. And then I said some asshole shit. I was like, you didn't even go to college, or you didn't even finish college, or some asshole shit. My mom never let me forget that, that I said that. So I was an asshole to my mom for whatever. Maybe I was. In a lot of ways, I was happy that my dad left, but maybe subconsciously I wasn't, or because I was missing that. I mean, he was still around. He lived in. I mean, we spent a lot of time with him, no doubt about that. And he still helped my mom financially with us, and he wasn't absent. He just wasn't living there at the time. My parents were on and off and shit, similar to how me and my son's mom were on and off for a while. Just making comparisons. And fuck it. So anyway, so I was on a field trip at the IMAX theater, and this girl, I want to say her name, but I shouldn't say her name. I don't think it matters. But anyway, she like told one of my friends or something. We were like sitting, like I was like here, or no, I was here. And she was like 2 or 3, seats down. And she passed down like not a note, but saying, "Hey, tell Chris I like him." And I was like, "What?" And I said, "I like you too." And so we're like, "Oh well, shit." And I guess we became boyfriend and girlfriend, like automatically. So not long after that, probably the next day or the same day, on the playground behind one of the portables, we kissed. And that was my first kiss, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty dope. I don't regret it, but I was fast. Not a lot of kids are fast. Some are faster. What's trippy is that same girl. So I lived in the Metroplex area, in the main city, and I went to a school, right? And then I moved when I was in 4th grade, to a suburb that we assumed that the school was going to be better. It's a nice suburb, So for a year, my mom would drive us to that school in the main part of the city. Even though we lived kind of far, not super far, but kind of far, and then she would take public transportation to her job in the downtown city. And for a year we did that because she wanted to because she grew up and she moved around a lot. So she gave us the option that if we wanted to stay there for one more year, we could. That was really for me because the next year would be middle school in the town that we moved into. But it wasn't, that grade wasn't junior high in where we moved from. Which now I don't know. For some reason they sometimes schools change that shit and districts do. For whatever reason. So in 6th grade, I started in middle school. I took the bus, and I didn't know anybody, or so I thought. So that first morning, I still vividly remember getting off the bus and walking towards the school, and there was this kid with like really thick eyebrows, and I was like, "What's up, man? I'm Chris. What's your name?" And he just ignored me completely. Like he didn't respond or anything. I found out later he didn't speak English, so I was just like, I kind of shook it off. I didn't really let it bother me too much. I really didn't know what to expect, I guess. I was in honor classes, because I was kind of nerdy, you know. I was smart, book smart at the time. And still, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, I feel weird talking about myself in that way. So 6th grade, I'm exposed to a new culture because the kids at that school, even though the neighborhood's like it's houses instead of apartments, I found out about kids having sex, smoking pot, and I was innocent to all of that shit. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't innocent to girls. I had a little bit of experience with that, so that in that department, I felt like I didn't have any trouble, and then I made friends pretty quickly. And I made friends. At first, they were kids in my class, right? In honors. That was pretty much middle school. I was only friends with people that were in my classes, and so there's one black kid, one white kid. They were like my best friends. We would spend the night at each other's houses, play Nintendo 64, go to the movies. With the black kid, me and him started rapping in 6th grade. That's when I first started rapping. And it was what was crazy was one day I was listening to something on the radio, and I was like, man, I could do that. I think I could write a rap. So I sat down and I wrote a rap, and it was very simple and silly. And I said something about, I'm from Texas, eating Cheerios for breakfast. I don't know, some shit like that. And I showed it to my my homeboy, black dude, and melanated friend. And he was like, well, you rap? And I was like, shit, I do now. And he said that him and his brothers rap and that they record. And he asked if I wanted to, and I was like, yeah, fuck it. So that was a quick, just, you know, one day I wanted to rap. I wrote a rap, showed it to my friend. His brother was already rapping. And I ended up recording tracks with him and my own tracks, and he taught me how to use Fruity Loops, and they taught me how to do all that, and how to use, I forgot what program we used to record our voices onto the beats, but anyway, we fell out later because his brothers took one of my beats without asking me, because I was on their label. And they did a remix, and I was young, you know what I mean. So I didn't. I got real offended and hurt, and I stopped talking to them. Right? And then, well, no, I actually kept talking to him. But then the people I would rap with started beefing with people that he would rap with. Just rap beef and shit. Because they ended up being from the same town that I had family in that rap. Right? and which is in a whole nother state. So it's like a kind of coincidence type of deal. I don't know. But anyway, everything was fine after that. But going back to middle school, I remember. So 6th grade was my first time French kissing, which is a weird thing to call it French kissing because everybody kisses tongue kissing, right? We're tongue kissing, but we call it French. Yeah, French. That's how the French get down. Bonjour. And it was this white girl, and like I said, I love white people, so I'm not trying to put anybody down. And this person, I actually still follow her on Facebook, and she's a great mom from what I can see, and a wife and stuff. So, just like in my position, we may have been kind of thrown off as kids, but we were that's just natural. We were just doing natural shit. But anyway, I remember I don't know if it was Truth or Dare or Spin the Bottle, but we were all hanging out in front of her house, like just sitting in the grass in a circle, and me and her ended up kissing, French kissing. I think she was my girlfriend at the time. Girlfriend. And I do remember the fact that I had her gum. She was chewing gum, and I ended up with the gum. Just flavorless fucking gum. And me and that girl, like, we dated, like, for a while. Like, I used to hang out with her and her family and shit. One time I spent, like, the whole day with her. And it was, somebody else. It was romantic. If we ever did it. If we had sex. And I was saying, we were like, nah. And she was like, well, we could have, huh? And I was like, what? We could have. But I was a virgin at the time, and it doesn't matter if she was or not, if she was just. It was cool of her to say that because we had the whole day, and I guess we could have if she would have offered. I don't know if I would have, or if I would have been able to. Because what some girls don't understand is that a guy he just can't always just do it. Another time in middle school, this black girl, she came to my house, and we were chilling in front of the park. In front of my house there was a park, and we're chilling. And she was telling me, she's like, "Hey, I wanna see some shiny balls. I'm tired of seeing the black balls." Cause she was dating this other cat named Chris. He was a football player, and they broke up, and I guess they had sex together, and. In elementary school, the only thing I had ever heard about of sex at school was this one dude who in 4th grade, when I first got glasses, which has nothing to do with the story, but he asked, he said, "Hey, you know what a queef is?" And I was like, "Nah, what is it?" And he was like, "It's when I don't know what he called it, if it was the V word or the P word, but he said when it farts." And I was like, "What?" I never that I guess it stored in the back of my mind, and then years later I'm older and I'm hooking up with this chick, and she queefs, and I'm like, flashback, I'm like, oh, that's what the fuck he was talking about. How the fuck, why he knew, I don't know. Kids nowadays in 4th grade probably know way more. And then I don't remember when 2 Girls and a Cup came out. That shit, I don't know. I don't think I watched the entire thing. She was disgusting. So anyway, so me and that girl, all we ever did was like make out. Lots and lots of making out. And she said I was a good kisser. She was telling people I was a good kisser. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I dressed kind of lame back then. I just wore whatever, But I had confidence. We were kids. 6th grade. And then I think like in 7th grade, I wanted to go back out with her. Like we had broken up or something. And it was interesting because she told me that I could go back out with her, but I had to go out with her homegirl first, this other white girl. We were kids. I'm not judging anybody or any particular culture, race, and I'm not saying it's because she was white or anything like that. But so I dated her homegirl, and her homegirl was cute, not as cute as her. She was also white. And that girl said that she wanted to date me because she heard I was a good kisser. And nowadays I hear about girls that like hook up with dudes that are their homegirls' dudes because, you know, they heard that he got that sex game. And I don't think that's ever happened to me. I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't know. But with kissing, it happened in middle school. So I dated, and then she started getting jealous. She's like, oh, I shouldn't have hooked you up with my homegirl. And I was like, all right, whatever. Oh, and before that, the girl who was my first kiss on the lips in 3rd grade, she ended up going to that. Several people because of what's the word? I don't know. Whenever they start making, houses were getting cheaper, and then I don't know, something happened where a lot of people from a part of the city moved to this part of a suburb, where I ended up 2 or 3 people that I went to elementary school with ended up at the middle school I was at, and they weren't in the same, you know, town. One of them, he became like a skater, and I used to BMX with him in high school. And a funny story about him is I remember in pre-K, because I think it was pre-K that I went with. Yeah. And that was another school than my elementary school. Pre-K was a different school. And I remember we were pissing in the restroom in those urinals. And I remember looking over, and I was like, damn. I didn't say anything, but in my head I was like, man, his piece was huge. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, mine was not. I'm a grower, I'm not a shower, you know what I'm saying? Not that y'all give a fuck, but I was like, holy shit. And I never forgot that. I never forgot. Oh my god. And he's still a cool dude too. I don't know if he knows. I never told him this shit, you know what I'm saying? He's also a funny, talented dude. You know, I'm very blessed. Like, a lot of people I'm around, like, I just found out 2 of my homegirls are like trying out for like Maxim and shit. You know what I'm saying? One of them I used to work with. One of them I used to go to school with. And then a lot of my friends, one of my old friends, he's like a BMXer, like a professional BMXer. This other guy makes like funny videos. This other cat that I graduated with, he does interviews with like celebrities and shit. And I don't know his channel or anything. Next time I should plug it. But he's doing it. He's you know, like, I know a lot of talented people, and then the people who have normal lives, you know, they're great parents and shit. Like, even though a lot of us seen a lot of shit, you know, and people have been through more shit than us, you know, than our generation. But you know, it's interesting. Okay, so then I remember this one girl that I remember, man, she was in middle school, and all we did was hold hands. There was a couple girls all I did was hold hands with, and that's a great feeling too, as a boy holding a girl's hand, shit, for more than, like, we'd be in class and shit, sitting down watching a movie or something, I'd be holding her hand, or there was this one girl who every time we would go get snacks, like, we would just hold hands. It was a weird situation. I don't know. I just didn't go around kissing everybody. I would only basically kiss like my girl. Oh, there's this one girl and I because now she's a model and she's so fun, and I know, like, this is another girl that I went to school with, and she kissed me like we were leaving class, and I guess because she was friends with those other 2 girls, so she heard that I was a good kisser, apparently. And so she kissed me, but I was startled, right? So I didn't French kiss back. It was a kiss on the lips. And she was like, oh, okay, I got you. I was like, damn. It's all good, man. Everything happens for a reason. Maybe. Or everything's just fucking random. Who knows? Only God knows. You know what I'm saying? So those are good. Those are good things. I also used to hustle. That was when I became a hustler. Uh, it made it easier for me when I was in high school and in college, and to talk to random people in public, to sell CDs or give out CDs. Cause me and my homeboy, the black dude that I would rap with, my melanated brother, who I don't talk to anymore, but I hope he's doing well. You know what I'm saying? God bless him and his family. They treated me like a son. His mom and his stepdad and his brother was pretty cool too. You know, there was a lot of good times we had, and it was the way we fell out was we just stopped talking. I guess it was like towards the end of high school, by the time we graduated. We stopped talking. We went to different high schools, but also me and then him and then this other best friend I had from middle school, who was he was my crime partner. He was my brother from another mother for so many years. In high school, we used to we would buy like 20s of yayo on the weekend, and then we would watch Scarface and do yayo every time he did yayo. And that's the cat that he got in trouble one time because of me, and we ended up at alternative school with from middle school. There was this group of guys. These they were gangsters, but they dressed in like preppy, and everybody like respected and feared them. They were the cool dudes, you know what I'm saying? And in high school, they went to one high school, which I went to also, but then the next year, for the last 3 years of high school, I went to another high school with my best friend from middle school. But when that happened, because of certain shit that happened because of me, we stopped being friends. And he's doing good too. He's actually successful in the military and stuff, and I'm very proud of him. He's a great father, and it looks like he's a great husband and shit. You know, I keep up with people on Facebook somehow. I mean, somewhat, you know, the way that most of us do. You see them on our timelines every once in a while. But I have a lot of good memories with him, and then some that I regret. Me, I'm such a tool, man. I wanted to be cool. By that time, I was already smoking and drinking and having sex like those dudes were the cool ones for me. In middle school, they were already doing all that shit, right? And my best friend, he was fucking, and he would smoke and shit, but he didn't care about hanging out with cool douchebags. And I did. So like one time I invited them all over to my house after school, and I didn't have a key, so my melanated best friend, he went through the window for me and got us in. And I remember one of the dudes was like, "Man, I told you we shouldn't came over here." But I redeemed myself. You know what I'm saying? None of this shit fucking matter. But I remember, and then so we came inside and we rolled and we smoked, and I played some of my rap songs, and I remember they liked it. And that made me feel cool, you know what I'm saying? For the cool people to like me. Now I don't really give a fuck about that shit. But in high school, I really wanted to be cool. Middle school, I just like girls. Oh yeah, cause I didn't say me and my homeboy, my melanated friend, we would sell pictures of Dragon Ball Z. We would print out pictures for like 10 cents each, black and white, and then it'd be like 20 cents or a quarter, color pictures. These badass like Dragon Ball Z pictures, just random ones, and we would sell them in middle school for like $1 each. Man, we was grinding, and that shit was pretty dope. I mean, we would go to libraries and shit just for that, just to hustle. Pictures. Can you imagine? Like, kids today ain't gonna buy no fucking printed out That's a dead market right there. Who knows? I mean, maybe in poor schools where only one of the kids has a printer or some shit. But even then, I don't know. So that was middle school. Well, one of the sadder times, you know, and I just want to keep it balanced, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not complaining, or I just want to say it is what it is, you know? And one of those, my parents were on and off, they were fighting. One of the times that my dad was throwing like this fake fruit at my mom, and she was dodging that shit, man. My mom, I've only seen her in action a few times, you know, like in straight up action. One of the times was I was drowning in a pool because I didn't know how to swim, and I was like tiptoeing to the deep end, and then I lost and I was like, and my mom, she tried to jump in. She still had her, she had a see-through purple pager on her waist, and she jumped in and saved my bitch ass. Another time was when I was in high school, and I took a Xanax bar, right? They would call them T-bars, they call them handlebars and shit, but it was Xanax. And it was my first time, and at one point I was running around the house and she was chasing me because I was gonna run into a. Fuck, let me tell that story. This is in high school. So one time, one of my friends who didn't end up being a great friend because he tried to, sleep with my girlfriend at one point. But, you know, we were all kids, teenagers, high school. He's, from what I can tell, he's a good dad and a husband now, too. You know what I'm saying? It's just this crazy shit we did as kids. Him and his brother came to my house, right? And his brother was scary as fuck. Like, he was a gangster. Like, I seen him rob the weed dude one time in front of us. So I knew this dude, like, I don't know, he was scared. And he knew I rap. We planned on going to a studio, right? We planned on going to a studio. I had some beats, and I was like, all right. And he handed us both a Xanax bar. I immediately, like a dumbass, popped it in my mouth. He said, here, since we're going to the studio, and he gave it to us, right? I didn't think anything of it. Stupid. I realized at one point that I didn't have my key to the house, so I couldn't get the instrumentals. I was like, well, shit, since we ain't got no beats and we ain't gonna go to the studio or some shit, let me get them pills back. And I was like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, let me get them pills back. Give me $10 if you took that hoe. I didn't have $10. And I took the pill. So I panicked, and I was like, well, shit, maybe we can, another dumb logic for some reason. But this, I think the Xanax was already kicking in. And I was like, let's kick in the door. And he was like, all right. And we started trying to kick in one of the doors that were doors to, like, where it used to be a garage, but they were like really good fucking doors. And we didn't make a fucking dent. And finally, I think my mom pulled up, and they left. And by this time, I was already, you know, I don't know if any of y'all have been on a Xanax bar, and I'm sure different people experience different, you know, things. But that was the last time. So my mom gets there, and or they leave. For some reason, I don't know, they leave, and I guess that dude started getting high too, and was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna get arrested over $10 for one pill, you know what I mean? Trying to knock this door down. So they left, right? And my mom gets on, and I'm like, I start panicking. and I started saying, "Oh, my dad's gonna be mad at me. Y'all are gonna. I messed up the door." And so I called my friend to come back and pick me up, right? And my mom was like, what are you like? And I was like, almost hysterical. And they came back, right? And I was gonna get in the car, but then she said, get out of here. And she chased me around the house like for a good 10 minutes, I think. And finally I gave up, and I was like, I don't know, I guess it started coming down. I ended up in my room, and then I was talking on the house phone for some reason to this girl I was talking to at the time, and for some reason, because before that, so obviously, I'm fucked up, right? And I started watching porn early on, like in middle school as well, and then I started having intercourse as soon as I got into high school, pretty much. And this one particular, for some reason, I don't know, for me trying to smash, I was like, maybe if I ask her to do it in the butt, or I don't know, for some reason we were talking about anal. And then I was saying something about my mom, like, and then first I was talking to this girl about anal. We're flirting. And then I started telling her about what happened, right? And my mom got on the phone, she's like, get off the phone or whatever. So I got off the phone. These youngsters, man, most of them don't have no landlines. So most of y'all won't experience your parent listening on the other line to your conversation. Another thing y'all won't experience is so one time when I was in elementary school, this white boy, he apparently the teacher, and I think this was in 3rd grade too. The teacher told him to close the window. For some reason, he didn't lock it, right? And at that time, we were taking tennis lessons on weekends, Saturdays. And I remember there was this really pretty girl with really pretty eyes. So I kept wanting to go to tennis, and it was fun. It was a good time. But one of the times because the bus would drop his bike off at the school. And one time he was like, hey, I didn't lock the window. When I still remember the teacher, man. Miss Shepherd. I don't know, and I saw her one time later on in my life when I was working at a clothing store. But he said I didn't lock the window. He said if you keep an eye out, I'll go up in there and get some tickets, because if we had these little red tickets, we would get prizes. So and then also candy, right? So he went up in there, and I kept lookout. And he came out with a couple boxes of came out with a bunch of Airheads, those rectangular, those chewy, those delicious fucking candies, right? And he also came out with a whole roll of tickets. Like, what are we gonna do with all these fucking tickets, bro? She's gonna know. And that night, so I just kept the candy, right? I was just like, just give me some of the Airheads, bro. And I kept some of the Airheads. I told my mom I bought them over there at the tennis courts, because they had like a concession place, right? And whatever, it's in the evening. I remember my mom ordering a pizza, and we were chilling. It's the weekend. I think my dad's not living there at the time. It's just me, my sister, my mom. And this white boy, he calls my house, right? My house number. And he leaves a voicemail. And he tells me, hey, Chris, call me back whenever you get home or whatever. And then he clicks over. And he's talking to one of our homegirls from our class. This girl, she was actually on that Wishbone show. Like a couple episodes. I remember her telling us. I remember seeing it. She was, I'm not going to put all her information out there, right? But she was on there. And he was telling her, step by step, everything that fucking happened at the school. That he left the window unlocked. That I was the lookout. He said it all. And all of it was recorded on the fucking voicemail from my mom. To fucking hear it. She heard all of it. She started crying. She's like, why could you? And I was like, oh my goodness. Another thing I did with the phones that y'all, youngsters might not. 3-way. We used to do 3-way calls, and that shit costed money. And I used to, one time my mom got like a super huge phone bill. She was like, "What the fuck you been?" And I was like, "Nah, I don't know how to 3-way call. I don't even know what that is." And she believed me, right? And she told the lady on the phone, and she was like, "Ma'am, that he knows how to fucking. How old is he?" So my mom, she never let me forget that either. She told everybody in the family. You know how. And I love my mom. It's a hilarious story. I'm glad she kept that story alive. The other thing I did in middle school was this one Asian kid. He showed me how to open up Game Boy games, right, and switch the chip inside, because it's just this little flat chip. So what I did was I had Dr. Mario, right, and I went to Blockbuster, and I rented Pokemon, some new game. I think it was Pokemon. I'm not sure what it was. And I did what he showed me, right. And I did it, and I was gonna return it, and for some reason I told my mom, I guess. I don't know if subconsciously I felt guilty, and I didn't want anything to happen to her account. I don't know why, but I ended up telling her. So I switched it back before we took it back. I was too used to I don't know if it started in middle school or in high school. And I'm not blaming my dad, but my dad used to hit licks sometimes. You know what I'm saying? He used to do the old true switcheroo. You know what I'm saying? And he would show us how to do it and shit. But I started hitting licks on CDs because my mom wouldn't let me get parental advisory cussing CDs, right? So, and I didn't have no burner or nothing like that. So I would go to this Target that doesn't exist anymore, and I would keep one of my nails kind of long and real slick. I used to like with the magazines and shit. Like I'd be like looking at a magazine. I would look at the CDs, and then I was some like kind of slick, and then I'd take it back, go back to the magazines, and it'd be like I'm reading the magazine, and I'd have it behind the magazine with my, and then I'd open it up just slightly, get the CD out, put it in my pocket, you know what I'm saying, put that shit back. I had a lot of my favorite CDs. I got like that. A lot of the CDs that shaped my hip hop mind, you know what I'm saying? But that was the only way I could get them. And thank God I never got caught. My homeboy did it, and he got caught the first time. He said they put a show. They had to call his mom and shit. One time we got caught at a Ross, but I was in high school. I was with a couple girls. There's one girl I was talking to, and two of her homegirls, and I was driving. We were skipping school, and they caught all of us, and then we were in the back, and they're like, "We got to call your parents, or we're gonna call the cops." So one girl went ahead, called her parents, and I was like, "Man, my mom, I'm not gonna be able to get a hold of her right now." And I was just thinking, two of the girls, they thought that they didn't steal nothing because they didn't see me, but they said they saw me and they saw this other girl. Which the other girls did. So I was like, all right, here, the keys. And I said, stay close, keep it running, right? And so at one point I was like, hey, can I use the restroom, right? And the dude was like, yeah, that's cool. And he took me to the restroom. The restroom was right by the door. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make a run for it. Right, and as we're walking to the restroom, he's like, thank you for being so cooperative and this and that, right? And I was like, oh yeah, no problem. So I wash my hands, I get ready, and then boom, I take off out the fucking door, and I'm like, oh shit, where's my van? Where the fuck are these bitches at? And sorry, I didn't mean to call them bitches. Where are these ladies at? And then dude's like, he was chasing me, right? But he wouldn't catch me. And I'm not a very athletic person, but I was like running for my freedom. I did not want my mom to find out. And finally I found the van. And I was like, they stole my van. And he was like, well, then come back. And I was like, no. And I kept running. And finally I saw it like in the parking lot, because we were at a mall, shopping center type joint. So they were like way down there. Finally I found them, and I jumped in. I said, fucking go, man. And we took off and went back to, because it was like another suburb that we were at. And yeah, that shit was crazy as fuck, man. On that fucking note, on my little stealing stories and talk about more. I'll talk about more of that shit next week. Some other shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the topic will be, but I've done so much shit in my life. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty funny.